Okay, let's talk about food waste. Not food waste in your kitchen. More specifically, what happens when a farm, let's say an orange grove, might not have anywhere to send their oranges to? Or maybe you're in Georgia and you're a peach grower and your contracts to selling peaches to a grocery store or something fell through. What do you do? Well, our friends over at Farmlink try to fix that. So on the interview today, I talked with a guy named Mike from Farmlink, and he tells us really what their whole design philosophy is between connecting farmers with food banks around the country. So they do that to help prevent massive crops to going to waste. Things like corn, things like apples, so many different crops that farmers have. Maybe they've harvested it, but there's nowhere for it to go. So check out this clip from the interview to hear more about what Farmlink is doing to help reduce food waste. The amount of stuff that's being wasted. So this is it's basically donations, but done very intentional, you know?
So today we have moved a load of produce out of Washington, three loads in California, another load in Washington, two more loads, three more loads, four more loads, five more loads out of California. Now, one of these loads is tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Trevor, I'm going to give you this prediction for the rest of your life.
Perfect. Go for it.
When Florida is harvesting their tomatoes and California is harvesting their tomatoes, there are going to be excess tomatoes at these cold storages on the borders of the United States. They're going to
Okay.
be here perfectly legit, the whole 9 yards, right? Okay.
Right.
And more tomatoes are coming because we eat tomatoes in this country like we should eat them. And I think the tomato growers wish we would eat more, right? Okay. Now, but there's always going to be a few loads. And like I say, today one is this. Okay. Now, these sales, when these tomatoes first arrived in the cold storage or wherever they may be, or the grower's warehouse in California, Florida, they were perfect, right? And they had a substantial shelf life and they would go through the food pipeline, no problem. And everybody would consume them and be crazy happy about the quality. So anyway, and we're like, oh my gosh, Mike, you're like, Trevor's saying to me, you're saying to me, Mike, we got to get rid of this stuff. I'm saying, Trevor, we got to get rid of this stuff. And now all of a sudden we've been trying and trying and trying, and our boss is breathing down our neck. And we're like, we can't move it, boss. And he's like, well, just discount it and sell it. And like, well, if we do that, the next thing we know, the entire tomato market will ratchet down in cost. We sell one load and discount it hard. The next thing you know, the 100 loads of tomatoes that sell tomorrow in the United States will all be at a discount because of the one load we sold today, right? And so it's better for the shipper to say, okay, we've done everything we can, give it to the food bank, and let's take the tax donation. They call the local food bank, but now let's just say they call Farmlink. And we're like, okay, we can move it. How many days are left? 5 days, right? And so we will find the local hunger fighting charities that we can split that load up and move it because we're racing against time. Because we want that client to get that tomato tomorrow. So that client can enjoy 4 days with that tomato at home. We don't want the client to have to throw it away, right? And so so that's the other thing that we focus on. And so the best run food banks in the United States still may take 3 days to get the produce donation through the door. So that if the client needs 3 or 4 days, that means that the food bank network, everything has to have at least a week worth of shelf life on it. And because it might go into the system for 3 days before it gets distributed. Now, that's not a knock against the food banks. They are terrific. They're doing a wonderful job of fighting hunger, right? We're just like, okay, we're going to parse this up and we're going to move this a little differently. And we will, but we offer the tomatoes to the food banks every single day. And we'll say, hey, this one is perfect for you. Take this one. And we might be like, we're not so sure about this one, but we're letting you know about it because we don't want you to, because you might say, no, I've got a distribution tomorrow, Mike. It'll work perfect. Right? So we still communicate. We don't ever not communicate because we think they may not use it because we're not exactly sure what their distribution plans are. But if the food bank's like, no, I got to pass, there's something a little wrong with it, like, it's okay. We're going to move it into a different hunger fighting charity network, and we're going to do it just fine. And we get notes back every day. It's like, thank you for considering us. Hope you'll keep us in your mind. Every single day, Trevor, we get emails like that. And we're like, sure, of course we will. We'll have more donations, and we'll reach back out to you.
So great stuff from Mike. I think Farmlink is doing a great job helping reduce food waste coming from farms because there's nowhere for it to go. And it's also great that this has been a huge thing after COVID because we saw a lot of food wasted during that. But also we've had some past guests like Shay, who was on the podcast, they've been a really big contributor, like with onions and different stuff that they're growing. So check out Farmlink at the links below. If you're a farmer, check them out. If you've got an issue, if you've got some huge crops going to waste, nowhere for them to go, check them out. And also, if you need some food, check out farmlink.com. So thanks for watching this video, another personalized video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff if you like. Let me know in the comments if you have worked with Farmlink before, if you want to work with them now. I would appreciate any comments. Let's have some good discussion. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.